Hey, good morning, Chillie with Chillie's Cruises here. First of all, my apologies for, boy, that's a terrible looking picture this morning. My apologies for bailing out on you guys on Tuesday. As you can tell, probably from my voice, I've been sick as a dog. Um, and still have a horrible cough. I wasn't sure until a couple hours ago that I was even going to attempt to do this again today, but we're going to try it. But anyway, there was no way on Tuesday I could do a live broadcast. I posted some notices about it, but it's when you're supposed to be live and you just don't show up, that's not a good thing to do. Again, this oh, I see. I'm on the wrong camera here. I got to change this. Sure you want to end your stream? No. I don't know. Can I do that on the fly? I'm not sure I can. Wow. That is a strange one. I just figured out what's wrong with the picture. I'm not on my good camera, and I don't know if I can change that while live. But anyway, we'll go on with this for now. And I apologize for the picture. If I get to feel another coughing fit coming on, I'm just going to bail out. I will end the live broadcast, and then before it gets posted as a video, I will edit in the other stories on the back side of this. Again, I apologize for Tuesday. I apologize today for the disreputable looking picture. We do have a couple stories to cover. I'm going to do them relatively quickly because I'm not sure how long my voice will last. And then we'll hopefully get back to normal by Saturday. If this continues, because I've been told that this thing lingers and lingers and lingers and lingers. If it does, and I still have the same issues on Saturday that I'm having today, I may do Saturday's broadcast as a video, which I can do segments edited together and not put quite as much strain on my throat. And if I feel a coughing fit coming on, I can have the coughing fit and then get back to the next story. So that could be the possibility for Saturday. Again, my apologies, guys. This has been obviously a tough time. I'm a terrible sick person. So for whatever that is worth, that's what it is. And before I do any of this, I'm going to see if I can possibly change this. No, I don't know how to do that. I'm not a good technical person. I need to change the camera on the fly, and I'm not sure how one does that. So I'm going to go on with business at hand with a terrible picture. Okay, so the lead story this morning, again, if I bail out, check back on this channel in 15 minutes or so. And hopefully I will have gotten this up as a video with any stories that I'll lose with a coughing fit tacked on the end. Okay, two major changes are coming for two Carnival ships in 2021. I'm not real happy about one of these. The Carnival Legend will be going to Europe for a series of cruises in Europe, which means she will be vacating Tampa. And they're moving the Carnival Pride from Baltimore to Tampa to replace the Legend. So Baltimore is losing the Pride. The Pride's been in Baltimore for a long time. Baltimore's always had two ships, Grandiosa of the Sea and Carnival Pride, and now both of them will be gone. Excuse me. The Grandiosa of the Sea is being retired and moved to another cruise line, and probably renamed. And now the Carnival Pride's going to go to Tampa to replace the Legend. Now, some part of this report indicates that the Legend may be, after the series of European cruises is over, that the Legend may go back to Baltimore and replace the Pride there. But that's not on the schedule yet. None of this is on the current schedule as it's been published. So we don't have all the facts yet. However, that's what it looks like, and that's going to happen in 2021. So those of you that like the Pride, you probably want to book a Baltimore cruise sooner rather than later, because she's going to be gone. She'll be sailing out of Tampa. All right. The next story, which also has me highly upset. For those of you that know me, know that I am, as much as I talk about drinking bourbon, that I'm more inclined to drink Diet Coke as my drink of choice. Carnival announced that starting next year, it's kicking Coke out and taking on Pepsi. So Carnival Cruise Line will become a Pepsi house as opposed to a Coca-Cola house, which means my beloved Diet Coke will no longer be available on Carnival ships. Not happy about that, but that's me. I'm addicted, probably totally addicted to Diet Coke over anything else. Yeah, my son's addicted to Diet Pepsi. So he drinks Diet Pepsi like crazy. I drink Diet Coke like crazy. But anyway, Carnival will be a Pepsi line. To my knowledge, this might be the first major cruise line that's gone to Pepsi. Of course, Coca-Cola is the #1 drink in the world. Diet Coke is the #2 drink in the soft drink in the world. I'm sure it's a money issue. It has to be. But starting in 2020, Carnival will be a Pepsi house. So no more Diet Coke on Carnival ships. A new cruise port has been completed in Port Zante on the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I felt a cough coming. Sorry about that, folks. The Caribbean port is now capable of having the 3 largest cruise ships in the world, the Oasis-class Royal Caribbean, visit her in one day. And that opened last week. So a new port is open in St. Kitts. All right. That takes care of that one. So, the Royal Caribbean has announced that they're going to have a reggae cruise in 2020. The Jam Rock Reggae Cruise will be a very popular event. It's been done in the past and will continue. It's on Independence of the Seas on her December 5th, 2020 sailing from Fort Lauderdale. It goes to Ocho Rios and Montego Bay. Of course, those are two reggae areas. So the reggae cruise once again sails on the Independence of the Sea from Royal Caribbean. There was some reports came out on money as far as cruise lines are concerned, the third quarter breakdown. Obviously, the cruise industry is still recovering from the ban on cruises to Cuba and all the crap that meant for them, having to move ships around and so forth and so on. Hurricane Dorian obviously hurt the cruise industry a lot. There's been some contraction in Europe, which has left a mark on the third quarter earnings on both of all three, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian. But you go through all these numbers, and the things that I found interesting, the net income per passenger by the cruise lines was $69 for Carnival, excuse me, $75 for Royal Caribbean, $83 for Norwegian. I was under the impression that Norwegian was the cheaper of the three cruise lines. I was wrong on that one. They're considerably higher. And it's on the back end. It's not on the ticket price. They make it up on all the added fees and stuff. So I point that out only because you just need to be aware of it. When you pay a price for a cruise, they're trying to get you on the back end. They're trying to increase their revenues considerably. So you just need to be aware of that. The gross revenue per passenger day for Norwegian Cruise Line in third quarter of 2019, that's gross revenue, was $355 per person, with $254 from tickets and $100 from onboard spending. The net revenue per passenger per day was $270 per person, $193 from tickets, $77 from onboard spending. So they're getting approximately 40% more money from you, roughly, on the back end of the cruise. So you need to be aware of that when you're, especially folks that are budgeting to do cruises. You need to be aware of that. So, not anything earth-shattering, but I was surprised to see it actually in numbers. I was surprised. I thought Norwegian would have been the less expensive of the three, and it's not. Carnival Corporation has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Bahamas to fund and support flood damage repairs and basic restoration efforts at Rand Memorial Hospital, which is a primary hospital in Freeport that was just completely wiped out. So Carnival, once again, is stepping up big time in Grand Bahama Island and going to help with the efforts to rebuild the hospital. They're currently using temporary facilities. So again, my hat's off. As much as I'll fuss at the cruise lines for things, they've stepped up really well on the whole issue of rebuilding from Dorian. The largest new cruise ship of 2019, the Grandioso, was christened by Sophia Loren at the ceremony in Hamburg, Germany. This was about a week ago. This should have been on the show Tuesday had I had one. The Grandioso will begin 7-night cruises in the Western Mediterranean starting next week. But Sophia Loren she christened the ship. And I tell you what, I saw some pictures of her. She still looks awfully good. And I realize she's older than I am, but she still looks really good. We've talked several times, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that this morning because you can get this news elsewhere, but the whole Hong Kong mess, the protests are just getting worse and worse. And now, oddly enough, Twitter has gotten in the mix, not in the way you might think. An influential state-backed Chinese newspaper on Thursday had tweeted on their account, and Twitter is banned in China, but they have an account. But the newspaper tweeted that they were expecting a weekend curfew, and that after further study, the newspaper withdrew the tweet and eventually completely erased it. So there said that there was not sufficient evidence to back up that report. Interesting that the state-run newspaper is talking about a curfew that nobody else knows about, number one. And it's also interesting that it was on Twitter. But they claim that the information, how they checked on how the information was obtained, and the conclusion was that the information was not sufficient to support that news. So it was deleted. The Hong Kong government did not immediately respond to comments from that, but the protests have been getting worse and worse and worse. Several other countries are now calling for an end to this mess. Of course, there's been the fear that China would just totally come in and put a physical stop to this with all rights thrown out the window. And that's been a major fear in this area. It just continues to be awful. So any of the folks over there, I certainly feel for what you guys are going through. It's a bad situation, bad for Hong Kong, bad for the students that are involved in the protests, because they're really risking it now. Things are going to get nasty, I'm afraid. The other thing that happened also would have been probably been my lead story on Tuesday was the Ocean Cay, the MSC Marine Reserve that was scheduled to open last week. The opening has now been postponed and canceled and moved back, and is now supposed to open on December the 5th. They've had delays upon delays upon delays, some of it caused by weather, some of it caused, who knows why. But anyway, the long-awaited opening of Ocean Cay, which will be MSC's private island, is now set for December 5th, when the Meraviglia, which recently made her first debut in North America. She came over last week and started her sailing out of New York and is now moving its way to Florida. But the MSC ships will be landing. Almost all of the Caribbean cruises will be going through the Ocean Cay MSC Marine Reserve when it ever gets open. So it's now scheduled to open on December 5th. Okay, folks, I got through this today without any major damages to my throat. As you can tell, it's going. Again, my apologies for Tuesday. Also, my thoughts that Saturday, if I'm still like this, I will attempt to, I may do this as a video as opposed to doing live until my voice comes back. This is awful. So I apologize again for the poor quality on the camera, because I'm set on the wrong camera today, and I'm not sure technically how I can change that on the fly. So that's why the color's all screwed up. Typical of me, was worrying about my throat, and and then it's an awful picture. So anyway, we got through it today, folks, without me coughing too bad in your face. So As always, I appreciate each and every one of you being with me at 6 a.m. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday for travel and cruise industry news. Hey, Jason, good to see you again. One of our regulars stopped in. But anyway, always appreciate a thumbs up. If you're new to this channel, we appreciate you being here. You might want to look at the descriptions down below. There's all kinds of stuff you can see. You can check out all my various links and stuff. You can go to YouTube and go to Amazon and buy stuff. And I get a few pennies for that if you do it. But anyway, we got through it with a bad throat. Hopefully Saturday will be better. And we'll get back to you guys if there's anything major happens between now and then. And again, if I'm in this shape again on Saturday, I might do this as a video as opposed to a live broadcast. So just be aware of that if you're looking for me come Saturday morning. That's it for now. This is Chillie, the Fat Travel Guide. I'm glad I got through this without coughing in your face too awful bad. Later, y'all.